Good morning, Peter. We are going to talk today about multiplying four-digit numbers, and I don't think that this should be any problem for you because you got really good at multiplying three-digit numbers, and multiplying four-digit numbers really isn't any different. So you have a copy of this page in your homework pack that I gave you, or if you go, well, to see this video, you're already in Google Classroom, but you can also always print this off at your house if you'd like, but I gave you a hard copy in the packet that I brought around as well. And let's start looking at the top together. And it says there are 3 classes of 4th graders at Vancouver Elementary School. Each class sent out 1,276 pen pal surveys to schools around the world. How many surveys were sent? So in order to figure that out, we're going to multiply 1 times 1,276. And we can estimate that 1,276 is pretty close to 1,300, and so that would equal 3,900. So let's go ahead and just remember the steps that we take to figure this out. Step 1 is we multiply the ones. That in my copy did not show up very well, but it's supposed to be 3 times 1,276. And 3 times 6 is what? It's 18, right? So we'll put our 8 down here, in the ones place, and we'll put the 10 up top of the 7. Okay? Step 2, multiply the tens place. And so now we're going to come over to the 10. The 10, this is a 7. It didn't show up very well here on my copy. So this may be a little difficult for you to understand here. But next, we're going to multiply 3 times the number in the tens place, and that is 3 times 7. And 3 times 7 is what? 21, right? But we have one more on top of this, so we have to add that in. So that makes 22. So we put our 2 here and the other 2 down here. Now, our third step is to multiply the hundreds. So we take 3 times the number in the hundreds place, and that's a 2. So 3 times 2 is what? 3 times 2 is 6, but don't forget we have to add in the part that was left from our last step. So 3 times 2 is 6, and 2 more. 7, 8, right? So we put our 8 down here. And now we can go on with the next number. Now we take 3 times the thousands. We multiply the thousands. And 3 times 1 is what? 3 times 1 is 3. And there aren't any more to add up there, to add in. So we just write down our answer, and our answer is 3,828. So 3,828 surveys were sent. Since 3,828 is close to the estimate of 3,900, it is reasonable. Okay, here are some more examples that we can do together. We're going to take 8 times 100 or 1,775. Okay, so remember all our steps. Step 1, multiply the ones. Step 2, multiply the tens. Step 3, multiply the hundreds. Step 4, multiply the thousands. So we can do that in this case. We go 8 times 5, and what is that? That's 40. So we put the 0 down here, we put the 4 up here, and then we're ready to do the next one, and we do 8 times 7. And that is 56, right? And then we add 4 more on, and that makes 60. So we put the 0 here, we put the 6 here. We do 8 times 7 again, that's 56. But we add this in, and that would make 56 and 6 would make 62. And so we put the 6 up there, we put the 2 here, and we do 8 times 1, and that's 8. But remember that we need to add some more in. So then we do 8 plus 6, and that's 14. Okay? And you can look through at the rest of these, and they're done the same way. I don't know that I'll go through all that on this video, because I don't really think you're going to have much trouble on this at all. We even did some together before this virus thing, where you even did 2-digit multiplication down here, which is quite a bit harder than this with just the one number. So I think that you'll do okay. Look at all the examples that the book has given. There's some more examples here. And remember, they're doing step 1. They're telling you how to do it if it's a money problem here, I guess. So maybe we should talk about that. 8 times $19.95. They estimate and say that's almost $20, and so then they go 8 times 2, 16, and then you add the 0, that makes 160. And then step 1 to figure out something like this is they say write the problem using whole numbers. So just take that cents sign out there and just write it as 1,995 times 8. And then you can just do it the regular way. And then step 3, write the product in dollars and cents. So go ahead and put that back in there. Remember that we have cents has 2 numbers there. We have 2 numbers, and then we have the decimal point. So you can just put that back in there when you've finished the problem and you're all done with it. All right? And so that kind of tells you how to do this one here. Another way that you could do it here, I don't see that they took the decimal point out, and you don't have to. One way is to take it out and put it in at the end, and then the other way is to bring it straight down. So remember that you will always put 2 numbers here, and then you can bring your decimal point straight down. I've done it that way too. So you can use whichever method works best to either write it without any decimal point in it and then add it later, or you can just bring your decimal point straight down, remembering that you should have 2 numbers there. All right. Looking at this paper, you will need to write this down on the other sheet that I've included, because see, it's not written in a way that helps you figure out what the answer is very well. It's written this way, and you'll need to write down 24.16 times 5. and then, do it that way. Here are some more that are just the same as well, and just some more practices. Here's another way that you can multiply, and that is they're doing this number here, and that is multiplying 3 times each number. So like 3 times 1,000 would be what? Remember to just add your zeros. That would be 3,000. And 3 times 500, what would that be? That would be 3 times 5, which is 10. Oh, no, I mean which is 15. And then you have to add your 2 zeros onto that. So that would be a 15 with 2 zeros. And then 3 times 9. And that is 27. And then you add all those numbers together and you can get your answer. This is just a different way to figure out how to figure out a problem. You can do it this way. This is just another way to do it using expanded form, where we multiply each one individually times the amount that it's worth, and then we add it together. You've done some like that with your addition stuff, but I don't know if you've done anything like that with multiplication yet. Hopefully this won't cause you any trouble here. So it looks like here, see, we see parentheses. I'm looking at these to see if these will cause you any trouble. These are a little tricky, but the parentheses tells us whenever we see something in a parentheses, they want us to do that first. And so they want you to take 5 times 764, and then whatever that answer is, take that answer times 4. So basically, these are kind of like 2 problems in one. You have to do this part first to find out what it is that you're going to multiply times 4. So you're going to need to do the part in parentheses first and then multiply times 4. All right, as I look down some more at the page, I'm trying to look here. You can see that I crossed some out for you. I went ahead on the story problems because there were quite a few. This is a pretty big page. I crossed out some of the odd numbers so that you can skip those that have the cross on them. But try to figure out the others. This problem here has a missing number here, and you're not sure what would go there. But you have to think, what times 3 would equal 4? Well, nothing times 3 equals 4. So that means it must be 14, or it must be 24, or it must be something with a different 10 on it. You got to think about that. What times 3 could equal something with a 4 at the end of it? Okay, so think about that and then check it with the other numbers and see if you're right. This is kind of a guess and check thing. And you can do it. You can figure this out. And just think about all your multiplication facts of 3's and decide what times 3 would have a 4 at the end of it. And then go ahead and finish the problem, and that'll tell you what's next. And then if you keep going on and these are correct as you go, then you know you figured out the right one. If you don't get the right answer, then try a different number. Okay, how many months had more than 18 sunny days? So this is reading this graph over here. You got to use that. Look over here. These are the number of days, and then these are the months. And you have to say how many days had more than 18. So here's 18. and you want more than 18. So you have to look and see how many days had more than 18. Number 36. What was the total number of sunny days in February and March? So you'll look in February and see how much that is. You'll look in March and see how much that is. And then what would you do to figure out how many all together? How many days all together? You need to use a certain type of operation to figure that out. We come to story problem 38, and it says Isabel bought 3 packs of paper and an ink cartridge. What was the total cost of these? So 3 packs of paper are $1.99 for 1 pack. So what would you do to figure out how much for 3 packs? And then don't forget you have one more step, because when you figure out how much it is for 3 packs, then it says and an ink cartridge. So don't forget to do something with that ink cartridge after you know how many 3 packs of paper would be. And then this is the last of what I want you to do. I crossed off this bottom part. You don't need to do that. But this is a mixed review. This is things that you've already learned, but I don't want you to forget. This is addition. This is just adding some things up and subtracting some things. Here's a rounding question. Do you remember about rounding? Round to the nearest 100,000. So which number is in the 100,000s place? Well, 6 is in the thousands place, right? We want 100,000s. So the 2 is in the 100,000s. So you're going to round so that all of these are zeros, and this 2 will either stay the same or it will raise the score. You have to look at the number that's right next to it to figure out what it will be. All right, and let's see here. Over here, this is another with parentheses. So we always work from right to left, and whatever is in the parentheses we do first. So you're going to need to subtract these 2, and then you need to add on 13. So 44 says find the sum. So you're going to need to write this on your piece of paper, and you need to make sure it's important that you line up all your numbers so that you don't get confused. You need to have all the thousands stacked, one on top of each other. All the numbers in the hundreds place stacked on top of each other. All the numbers in the tens place stacked on top of each other. All the numbers in the ones place stacked on top of each other. And when you do that, then you will just add them up. And what would those be? I'm going to include a video to help you with this problem, because I don't know that we've talked about the median score yet this year, and I see that you have a question about that on there. So I'm going to include another video that you can watch to help you answer that question. Thank you, Peter. I hope that this page goes really well for you today, and I'm sorry that we can't be doing this together in the class. We'll hope that we can be together in class soon. Thank you. Bye.